The notion to promote entrepreneurship and entrepreneur culture, to inspire future and current entrepreneurs, to understanding being focused and building capacity to grow their business. Here is success story of entrepreneurs who believes that in life, in work, and in business, you will always be rewarded in direct proportion to the value of your contribution to others. This is my success story. This is my success story. He is an entrepreneur, writer, politician, and a Christian filmmaker. He is the son to the famous student union leader and activist Akoko Michael Olusegun Okiowo, who led the most popular student uprising in Nigerian's history in 1978, which was tagged Ali Must Go. His passion for Christian evangelism led him into filmmaking. Meet Kolade Segun Okiowo, the CEO of Zion Stone Media. He is the initiator of the Zion Stone Film Village, a 33-acre estate devoted to film shooting. He is also the executive director of Gold Mine Schools. Here is a success story. This is my success story. Many thanks for joining us on My Success Story.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, you are the son of the famous union leader and activist Akoko Michael Olusegun Okiowo, who led the most popular student uprising in Nigeria's history in 1978. That is Ali Must Go. Tell us more about growing up.
Well, I grew up to know that my father was an activist, a student union leader, even though at that young age, I really didn't understand what being a student union leader was all about. All I knew was that everywhere he went, there was always a crowd after him. Leader, and then we had Ali Must Go on radio, on television. Ali Must Go, Ali Must Go. In my school, people would say, the son of Ali Must Go, and all of that. It was when I grew up much more later in secondary school that I began to understand what student unionism was all about. But my father was a great man. I take him as my hero because many of the things I'm doing today, my father introduced me to it. Let me give an example. While I was growing up and I was getting close to teenage, my father told me at the age of 12, he said, "Have you heard people say a fool at 14 is a fool forever?" I said, "Yes." My father said, "Whoever says that is a fool." He said, "Because a fool at 40 is not a fool forever. But a fool at 14, okay, what they said was a fool at 40 was a fool forever. But my father changed it all around and said a fool at 14 is a fool forever." So that became, part and parcel of me and made me to grow very fast, because by the age of 12, going to 13, I already had a picture of what I want to be, what I want to do with my life. So I was ready, I was matured already, because I didn't want to be a fool at 14. And that really helped me a lot. By 14, I was getting ready to enter university. By 15, I was already an undergraduate. By 19, I was out of the university. So my father's upbringing and the things he said to me really made me to grow very, very fast. Such that my friends were usually, in all my classes, I was usually the youngest. My friends were usually very much older than I was. While I was in university, my youngest friend was 19, while I was 15. So for me, according to my father, 99% was as bad as 0%.
0%. Wow. That's a very great principle. Okay, let's move to your educational background. Tell us about your educational background.
I started off at, let me start from the secondary school. I went to Mayflower School, Ikenne, in Ogun State. The school where the legendary Dr. Tai Sholari was the proprietor while he was alive. In Mayflower, I got a lot of upbringing. The hard work sense was instilled into us right, in Mayflower. So while I was in Mayflower, I learned how to keep pigs. I learned how to bake bread because I was in the bakery society. I was in the piggery society. I was in the goat. I learned how to keep goats. I learned how to do plumbing. I learned how to be a bricklayer and all kinds of things and it's talking to me such that when I grew up in life and I was constructing my first house, while I was, doing my first house, I did bricklayer in the house.
Wow.
I did plumber. In fact, till today, my first house, I personally did the plumbing work
Wow.
in my first house. And I can tell you till today, that house is close to 20 years now. The people living there are still using, my tenants there are still using that,
Wow.
the plumbing work that I did by myself,
Yeah.
based on the things I learned while I was in secondary school. I left secondary school in 1986 and I graduated as one of the best students. In fact, I was the best student in the arts class, and that gave me the Dr. Taishinari Award for Excellence in my school cert result.
That's impressive.
I was privileged to have my admission immediately after finishing secondary school to Ogun State University, where I studied history. I finished in the year 1990. I got my BA history and I proceeded immediately to the compulsory 1-year youth service.
Yeah.
I served in Ondo State. I always wanted to be a diplomat. I've always dreamt of being in the diplomatic corps. I remember when I was a little bit younger, I was in secondary school, I always dreamed of being a member of the Nigerian diplomatic corps, representing my country in other countries. And so I settled for international relations in my master's class. I wanted to be a diplomat, so I studied international relations. And I did finish my studies. But while I was doing my study, while I was wrapping up my master's in Ife, I got in touch with Christian drama evangelism. And that caught it caught my attention. And my interest in diplomacy and just shifted, and I became a drama evangelist.
Wow.
Not only because I got interested in drama evangelism, but because I just became a Christian at that time, a serious Christian. I just got born again.
So into the Christianity.
Yes, so the burden to share the gospel was so much on me, and I saw drama as a veritable means of spreading the gospel. Yes, because I watched a film, Lost Forever, made by evangelist Mike Bamiloye. I watched it at Oduduwa Hall, and I saw the way people were coming out to give their life to Christ, and I was like, wow. So somebody can watch a drama and then I said, well, so why are we stressing ourselves doing crusades? Spending so much money trying to do revival. Why don't we just do a film and then let people watch it, and then the message, whatever message we are trying to pass across will go. So I opted for drama evangelism. And that's what I've been doing till today. I became a drama evangelist in 1994, having gone through some tutelage under my mentor, Evangelist Mike Bamiloye of the Mount Zion Faith Ministries International, and I started doing films. And here am I.
This is my success story. It's so obvious that you've done well for yourself from at the point where you were in secondary school, Mayflower, and then you've picked interest in entrepreneurship. Okay, now before we move down into your entrepreneurship journey, you have done over 35 movies. Yeah. So now tell me what actually gave that spark, apart from the fact that you felt, you want to actually propagate the gospel. What actually gave that spark?
Movies are powerful. Very, very powerful. One of the shapers of opinion, one of the greatest shapers of opinion in life is movie. Many of us grew up to become what we became, or we grew up to like certain things. We grew up to behave in certain ways by virtue of the media. And movie is one major aspect of the media that have shaped our lives.
Yeah, very right.
Yeah, many young people are violent, not because their parents are violent,
Yeah.
not because the schools they went to are violent, but
Yeah.
because of the movies
Yeah.
that they have watched. You know, some get fashion crazy, not because of anything, but because of the movies they have watched. So movies are very, very powerful. And in all my life, I've always wanted to be an opinion molder. I've always wanted to be a change agent. And I saw movie making as a veritable source and, you know, a vehicle of change, of changing orientation of men. And that's one of the reasons why I stuck to making movies. I like sitting down, watching watching movies in company of people, and I see the way they are changing their minds. Right while they are watching, some people say, wow, yeah, and I used to do this, it's not good. I'm going to stop doing it. So dramatic. People have changed opinions right while they are watching movies. So I said to myself, if the negative influence of movie making or of movies can be so much, America is in trouble. Or I wouldn't say America is in trouble, but America is suffering from the very negative effects of movies.
Now let's look at your entrepreneurship journey.
Okay.
Yeah, you are the CEO of Zion Stone Media, yes, and then you are the first person to initiate a Christian film village in Nigeria. Now, what actually led to you to you having such kind of initiative?
Thank you very much. Many years ago, it occurred to me. I said, we're going to be making movies, and we want to make movies all through our lives. I like to continue making movie till I drop dead. Then I asked myself, the way we go around looking for locations, you know, in Nigeria we don't have studios. We do not have studios. We do not have the likes of studios you have in Hollywood and all of that.
Chroma,
where you do
manipulate everything. Yeah.
You just have to go and look for real life locations and all of that because we are doing low budget movies. Okay, fine. Now, then I asked myself, are we going to be going around all the time looking for houses, looking for locations? Then the idea came to me way back in 1998. I said, can I build a film village where all kind of houses will be, and here and there, here and there? Then I drew a budget. In 1997, I drew a budget of 2 billion naira. When we drew the budget of 2 billion naira, I lost interest because I asked myself, 2 billion.
Do you get the money from?
Where do I get 2 billion naira from? But I'm glad that I kept it. I kept it in a file. I said one day I'm going to have a film village where 2 billion or no 2 billion. By the time we got, it was in 2009 where the dream became a reality. I just had an idea. Why don't you call people together? All these houses that you want to build yourself, you don't have to build it yourself. Buy a few plots of land, sell it to people, let them build the houses, and then appeal to them. I like to use your house to do movies. And lo and behold, I bought some parcels of land, and I sold the idea to some of my friends and loved ones. Come and buy plots of land, and they bought the plots of land for me. And today, by the grace of God, the Zion Stone Film Village Phase 1 is settled, and we're expecting about 124 houses. So in a place where I have about 124 houses, I can shoot a variety of movies.
Wow, that's a very, very intelligent initiative. Okay, let me just say you're a serial entrepreneur because you don't just own a film village. You're also the executive director of Gold Mind Schools.
Yes.
So why did you say, okay, let me just start off with school?
Yeah, my wife used to be a teacher in a public secondary school. Along the line, she had to resign because of the exigencies of our work and ministry. But that passion to teach
was still there.
So after a few years, she told me, I like to start a school. I want a school. I said, is it for money? He said, no, forget about the money. It's not about money. I just want to be fulfilled. And somebody had already told us that being into school business is not really
profitable.
It's not is not as profitable as one would think, but it's an investment into lives, an investment into exactly.
Life. Yeah.
So we agreed, and then we started the school. 2014, we started the school, and the school is growing. We have moved to our permanent site by the grace of God, and my wife is happy. That's the bottom line. She's happy. Anytime I see her in the school, jumping around, moving here and there, I see her bubbling with life, and I say, I'm fulfilled.
This is my success story. Now, you're not just a filmmaker, you're not just an entrepreneur, you also believe in Christian in politics.
I do.
Now, let's talk about your political career, and why did you have such belief?
Yes. I told you, I always desire positive change.
Okay.
I love to see things working out well. I hate to get to a place and they say things are not working. I'm always at the point I was becoming like hitting everywhere because things are not just working.
Yeah.
And I will ask, why are things not working? When people tell me, oh, it's not working for this reason, for that reason, I say, no, I will not take any reason. I want things to just work. How it will work, I don't want to know. I just want things to work. Now, I got into politics because of that passion to see things working. My father was into politics, even though he calls himself an activist in politics. He calls himself an activist in politics. I have chosen to call myself a minister in politics. I'm a minister in politics. And in my few years in politics, I've actually seen what God has used me to do to cause some changes in my little corner while I was the chairman of my political party in my local government, while I was the coordinator of a presidential campaign organization. How people have told me that the way you have managed funds, people don't manage funds like the way you have managed it. When you are the chairman of the party at the local government, they don't used to keep money in the hands of the chairman for 2-3 days and up to a week. When they say money must be spent. But in your own case, they keep money with you for 1 week, 2 weeks, and the money does not grow wings. You must be a different species. I'm happy when I hear such things. And I feel and I desire that I can do better. Because each time I hear things like, oh, so amount was budgeted for road construction, and
at the end it wasn't
used for the purpose, I get discouraged. I get mad. I have gone to 1 or 2 other countries and I see how things work there. I've seen things work, and I said to myself, it can work in Nigeria. While I was on a journey, I met an Arab who asked me, he said, where are you from? I said, I'm from Nigeria. You know what he told me? He said, wow, Nigeria, too much money. He said, Nigeria, really? Too much money.
Indeed. They've heard a lot of information about
so Nigeria. You guys are rich. You guys are rich. He said, Nigeria, too much money, too much money. I said, what? This is the impression the whole world have about us, Nigeria. That Nigeria is rich, and yet things are not working. So I want to have an opportunity in my own little corner. Whatever office I have opportunity to serve in, can I make a little change? I don't have to force everybody to do what I do. Can I just do it and show the world that this can work? It can actually work. It doesn't have to be business as usual. That's why I'm in politics.
Now, you are a Christian, you are a politician. Have you ever in any way been criticized by people that, oh, Shegokewo, you're a Christian, you're a politician, politics is a dirty game? And have you ever been criticized?
Seriously. What I've come to make my own conclusions.
Okay.
Politics is not dirty.
Okay.
It is human beings that are dirty. Whatever dirty human beings touch will become dirty.
Dirty.
Kemi.
Yeah.
Is journalism dirty? Is journalism dirty? But put journalism in the hands of dirty people, journalism becomes dirty. Is pastoring dirty? Pastoring is neither clean nor dirty. Put pastoring in the hands of dirty people, pastoring becomes dirty.
Exactly.
Put pastoring in the hands of clean people, pastoring becomes clean. The same thing with politics. Politics is neither dirty nor clean. Put it in the hands of clean people, it is clean. Put it in the hands of dirty people, it's dirty.
Wow.
Politics is like money.
Wow.
Money is neutral. Money is neither good nor evil. The same money you use to buy a Bible, you can use the same money to buy Indian hemp. Whose fault? Is money, what's the fault of money? You use the same money to buy Indian, you use the same money to buy a gun, you use the same money to buy a Bible. Whatever you use it to buy, it is not the fault of money. It is the fault of the man spending the money. So politics is not dirty. Politics is neutral.
Well, that's a wonderful. Okay, now let's look at your entrepreneurship and political career.
Yeah.
How have you been able to manage these two sectors, and what challenges have you gone through, and how have you been able to overcome these challenges?
Time management is the greatest challenge.
Okay.
Time management. But I have come to understand that 24 hours that God has given us is quite a long time. There's a lot that we can do with 24 hours if we don't trifle with it. If we don't mess up with it, we can do a lot within 24 hours. Sometimes my children will tell me, "Oh, Daddy, you are too busy. You are too busy." And I ask them, "Am I as busy as Dangote?" I said, "Do you know that Dangote, Alhaji Dangote has over 100 companies and he's overseeing all of them here and there." So I said, "So don't think, if that man Dangote is able to manage his time and is able to, he's here, he's there, he's into cement, he's into salt, he's into this, into that." I said, I've not even done 1/10 of what that man has done. So it's about time management. Yeah, politics takes a lot of time. And that's why I counsel people when they're going into politics, you must have a second address. You must have a second address so that you don't become a puppet in the hands of anybody. You must have a second address in the sense that you must have something that you can fall back on as your job, as your business, as your profession, so that politics shouldn't be a full-time thing. It shouldn't. I hate to hear that somebody say I'm a professional politician.
Indeed.
I said, for what? Why should you be a professional politician? So you are not a doctor, you are not an engineer, you are not a farmer, you are not a lawyer, you are not anything, you're just a politician. It's not going to work. And one of the challenges we've had in this country is that we've had some people who have no other job than being politicians. Now, they will always create problems for our polity. But if we have people who know what they are doing, who have their first calling, and then politics becomes, a vocation, a service to the community, a service to humanity, then we're going to have it good in our nation.
Okay. Yeah. So now, how have you been able to manage all of this with your family?
Yeah. Before I went into politics, I got the support of my wife. For 3 years, my wife was against politics. She was completely apolitical. I said, "Madam, pray. Does God want me to join politics?" She said, "I will not even pray because I don't believe in politics and I will not encourage you." So she was against me joining politics. Then she attended Daystar Leadership Academy. God bless Pastor Sam Adeyemi. If Pastor Sam Adeyemi is listening, God bless you. Thank you, Pastor Sam Adeyemi. My wife listened to Pastor Adeyemi and she was, wow. She heard Pastor Adeyemi talk about visions, how God can use us to bring positive impact in the society, what God, Pastor Sam Adeyemi showed Oshodi to the class where my wife attended, what Oshodi looked like, what Oshodi should look like, and all of that. And my wife was, wow, and this is what my husband has been saying. So she came back home and said, that politics, I support you now. And of course I had to wait for her to take that decision because I knew what politics meant. What politics means. In politics, you can lose all your supporters in one day. And I said, if I lose all my supporters in one day, who is that one supporter that I must not lose? It's my wife. I better not lose. So I must make sure that I have that support. And when I contested my first election, I lost.
Wow.
And I left the scene of the electoral collation and I came back home. And my wife was waiting at the door, ready to embrace me. And she said, welcome back home, my hero. And I didn't see all the sadness of losing the election disappeared in a second. And I was happy coming back home to meet a woman who can say, even though you lost the election, there's one INEC here waiting to declare you the winner.
This is my success story. Let's take a rest about politics now. What movie was your first break that really brought you out to the limelight?
Freebo Costley. I did a film in 2005. It was titled Freebo Costley. It was my first time of bringing a film to the cinema. And we brought it to the cinema in Lagos, and it was a massive success in the cinemas. And it was advertised on television. It was my first time of having my movie advertised on television.
Wow.
And then it was wow all around. The people were making calls, Freebo Costley, Freebo Costley. So that really gave me a major breakthrough. 2004, 2005, thereabout. That was the first time I had a major break. And thereafter, I went on to do some other films that went to the cinema. The Gods Are to Blame was followed afterwards. The Gods Are to Blame followed, and then some other films like that. So it was Freebo Costley.
Now, tell me what inspires you when making the film. What inspires you? What's your inspiration?
Change.
Okay.
Positive change. For example, my last film was titled Atohorewa. Atohorewa, the non-indigene. It's a film that talks about in-laws, mother-in-laws and daughter-in-laws who are not from the same tribal ethnic background. Yes, and it's a movie that talks about the fact that coming from one ethnic group does not make you lesser than the other person from the other ethnic group. That it's all about who you are, your character, your morality, the stuff that God has deposited in you. And we came to a conclusion that God can actually use anybody, wherever he is from, either Igbo, Hausa, Kalabari, Fulani, Yoruba, wherever. So it's a message of national unity. It's a message that brings, us to realize that ethnicity is not a barrier, and it's not a yardstick for measuring success. Ethnicity is not a yardstick for measuring intelligence or IQ. Those are the kind of messages I want to preach. Messages of national unity, messages that bring us to realization of who God wants us to be and how best we can explore who we are. And then the need for us to get prepared to make heaven. Because whether you like it or not, there's a life, after death.
Now, if you're not into filmmaking, if you're not into politics, what else will you be doing?
I'll be a diplomat.
Why?
I'll be a diplomat.
Why?
I've always wanted to represent my country.
Okay.
Let me go and represent Nigeria somewhere else, and the national anthem will be played. In those days it was even the former national anthem that we used to sing. Nigeria, we hail our own their name.
So, now what do you do at your leisure time? When you're not making films, when you're not into politics, and when you're just indoor, what do you do?
I run around with the children.
Wow.
I run around with the children.
Okay, now what makes Kolade Olusegun Okeowo happy? What really makes you happy?
When I hear people talk about the good things they have been blessed with, either through my movies, through my speeches, through my writings, and I get feedback. I'm excited. I'm excited. Once in a while, people will meet me on the road and say, "Oh, we've watched the film. I see you.
Great.
This, that, and that."
It gives you fulfillment.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you. I'm very, very happy when I hear such testimonies, especially when those testimonies come from far away. And I know that I have not been to those places, but my work has gone ahead of me.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing your success story with us. It was quite an interesting time with you.
Thank you very much, Kemi.
All right. Many
I
thanks.
thank you for coming.
All right.
I celebrate you.
Thank you. I celebrate you.